Good morning, everybody. How you guys doing? This brother Mike back with the thought of the day on February 15th, 2023. First, I want to give honor and praise to the Elohim of Israel for waking me up today and giving me the strength to and wisdom to do this message this morning. I missed you guys yesterday. I had to handle some business, so I couldn't do the video in the morning. But today, I want to talk about step 9. Today, we're going to talk about step 9. Step 9 is made the recommends to such people whenever possible, except when to do so would injure you or others. So back in step 8, we developed the list, and now in step 9, we're going to make the recommends to those people that we hurt and give some forgiveness to people that we feel that might have hurt us. So let's start from the beginning. Step 1, we admitted we had a problem with alcohol. Our life was unmanageable. Step 2, we knew we was insane and only God could bring us back to sanity. Step 3, we turned our will and lives over to the care of God. Step 4, we did a fearless moral inventory of ourselves. Step 5, we told God, ourselves, and another human being the exact nature of our wrong. Step 6, we asked God to remove our defects of character. Step 7, we humbly asked Him to remove our shortcomings. Step 8, we made a list of people that we are to go out and make amends to. Now we at step 9, where we're actually going to make the amends. The first thing that I needed to do, and you should do, is get a real good sponsor or spiritual partner to help you pick out the people that you need to make these amends to, for several reasons. For one, you want to make sure that the amends don't hurt you or hurt the other person. You don't want to reopen old wounds, and you don't want to cause trauma to anybody's life by making amends to them. So it was just suggested to me, don't go in your house and tell your spouse that you've been cheating on them for years in those kind of situations, because that will hurt them, and it will definitely probably come back and hurt you. In those type of situations, you make a living amends, where you pray to God and then you change the way you was living. If the person that you need to make amends to has passed on, you could make a living amends, or you could go to their grave and write them a letter and make amends to them like that. Next, it's important to have a sponsor to pick the right people, because sometimes people are going to reject your amends. And if you're not strong enough in your steps, that could hurt you, and sometimes it could lead to relapse. So when it comes to people rejecting your amends, you have to remember that doesn't matter, because it's about you cleaning your side of the street. We cannot control how other people feel, even when we go to them and we say sorry to them. All right. Um, Next, you have to do is um, make sure the amends don't injure yourself. So you do not put yourself in a situation where things that you tell or say to people can come back and bite you in the butt. All right. Now, in my walk, I had to make some tough amends. Of course, I had to apologize to people I hurt in the past, and a lot of them were women that I lied to and did different things to that I knew was wrong, and I had to go back and make those amends. Some of those were tough, but it was easier than other amends. The tough amends I had to make were to the people that I really felt wronged me, and I had to make amends to them and forgive them because of my part in the situation. And those amends were like, I had to make amends to my mom because um, I have some resentment from, I felt that I didn't get enough affection growing up. But once I did the work with my sponsor, I came to understand that she only was doing what she knew how to do as raising me as a single parent. And when I looked at my life, she gave me, put me in the right position to be successful. So it was kind of selfish for me to still hold resentments. And she only was doing what she knew how to do. So my amends was, my resentment was direct effect of my expectations of what I thought a parent should be. The next one was my dad. Like I discussed before, we didn't really have a relationship for like 40 years, but when he wanted to get back in my life, I gave him a hard time. So I had to call him and make amends for giving him a hard time when he wanted to get back in my life. Another tough amends I had to make was to this pastor that I used to go to church. I used to go to his church when everything happened back in Red Bank, and um, I remember when my wife first got murdered, and I went to him and I asked him for could the church raise some money to help to make an award, so maybe we could draw somebody in to get information. And he just kept asking me, "Are you sure you didn't do this? Are you sure you didn't do this?" And I was so hurt that I held on that resentment for years. And every time I seen this brother, I had that anger and stuff boiling inside of me. And I had to call him and make amends because he didn't really know me like that. So he was just trying to protect his congregation and protect himself from what I could have potentially had done, or he didn't really know if I did it or not. So I was in my feelings and I held on to that resentment. Another tough amends I had to make was to my superintendent that worked at the job when everything happened, when I was a teacher and everything happened in 2009. She wouldn't allow me to go into the schools and wouldn't allow me to be around the kids. And I was hurt bad. But once I did my steps and I got to see things from her point of view, and I asked myself, if I was the superintendent, what would I have done? Her job was to protect the kids and protect the school, and she was doing her job. Of course, at the time, I didn't understand that because I was in a lot of pain and I was hurt. But now, looking back at it, she did the right thing. So I had to call her and apologize for blowing up at her when she told me that I couldn't go into school and I couldn't be around the kids. Another amends that I had to make was to the prosecutors, and this was probably one of the toughest ones I ever had to make, because I knew I didn't do nothing to my wife, and I just felt that I was put through the ringer. And but when I sat down and thought about it, and I did work with my sponsor, 99% of the time, the husband, 90 something percent of the time, I should say, the husband does be involved in those kind of cases. So those guys were basically doing their job, and I was a victim of circumstances. So I forgave them, and those were some, and I had some amends with some friends that I had to get past and things of that nature. Those were some of the toughest amends I had to make. Now, why was it so easy for me to dig into it and forgive people and things of that nature? When I went back and I looked at my step 4 and I saw all of the things that I did and the kind of life that I was living, and I wanted the Most High to forgive me, that looking at my own self in black and white on paper, and it's important to have it on paper because we could rationalize anything in our heads. But when I looked at my own self on paper and I saw the life I was living and I wanted the Most High to forgive me, it was only right that I forgive those other people, because the things that they did not come close to the things that I did myself, and I wanted forgiveness for myself. So step 9 is a very vital step. Like I said, make sure you have a sponsor or a spiritual partner when taking step 9, because you don't want to jump out there too early. That's why the steps are in order, and because you could really get your feelings hurt. And good luck with everybody that's attempting to do this step. This is Brother Mike. Shalom.